The United States of America is the most powerful. Let me tell you something.
See?
The United States of America is the most powerful nation on earth. Period. All the talk of America's economic decline is political hot air. Well, so is all the rhetoric you hear about our enemies getting stronger and America getting weaker. If you doubt America's commitment, or mine, to see that justice is done, just ask Osama bin Laden.
Oh,
God! Russell, he went on to say, taking shots at people sitting there, he says, the only people in the country who get to keep their jobs for 30 years are sitting in this room.
right.
Like, he was going at people.
Well, did he talk about Citizens United? Because the whole country got one major problem. There's no democracy. There's only money.
Yeah, he definitely
everything
talked
we talk about what we getting ready to talk about, and everything. I occupied Wall Street for a reason. Because this country is run by money. And Citizens United allowing corporations to just go crazy, and they even further extended that law to give them even more power, is the reason that the prison industrial complex exists in the way that it does, and locks us up and changed our culture from
now,
prison,
for people
to
listening right now, Russell, Citizens United is a collective of individuals, corporations, who can fund their own political agenda.
Exactly, and that agenda,
and that's like the Koch brothers, and
exactly, it's where the politicians depend more on money than people, and it allows them further power to give even more money, so that politicians are beholden to money. And so every single thing that ill affects the American people is some corporation figured out new ways to exploit the people. Today I'm talking about my book.
That's right. What's the title? Really
the book is called A Happy Vegan.
That's right.
It just came out, and it's like, of all my books, I can't say it's unhappy, because it's written in a light spirit, but there's a lot of information in there. And it's like, when you eat chicken, you eat Prozac, you eat antibiotics, the kind you need that may protect you against some bug one day that could kill you. You eat growth hormones. You eat so many carcinogens in your chicken. In your beef, if you barbecue it could be like a third of, if it's 30 of protein, it's like 20 cigarettes a day. No one gives their child 20 cigarettes a day. And this kind of food product is only manufactured. These lives are only built and based on this much chemical and these many additives in America, because it's illegal to do that anywhere in the world. 20% of American women, black women, have some kind of heart disease. If you're over 20 years old and you're black, you're 50% likely to have some kind of heart disease. And the animal product that they serve you is only the way it is because of lobby. They allow corporations to feed us this. And then the American government gives them $30 billion while giving the vegetable industry only $17 million. So they give $30 billion to the factory farming industry, which is destroying the planet for sure.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of the livestock also, they say, is destroying the planet as well, because
the cows farting is like more than all the trains, planes, and automobiles put
that's
together.
Like a real thing.
The ozone layer is being destroyed by the gas of cows. Yeah,
that's right.
Plus, they're cutting down the rainforest and all these places to find places to put the cows.
Everything, kid. A hamburger. Yo, if you don't eat a pound of beef, you can shower for a year. Right, a year you can shower. So whenever they say, it pissed me off.
Wait, what do you mean? If you don't say
the amount of water to feed a cow and to wash a cow and to build a grain and all the stuff it eats is enough to float a battleship. One cow, one hamburger, you can shower for 6 months.
Does that make sense?
So like the process.
Yeah, so
everything involved
water required for it.
Got it.
So it's about how much water it takes just for you to
can
eat 1
feed
pound of beef.
so many people.
Now, Russell,
that's what the book's a little bit about that.
Your book, Happy Vegan, I always tell people when they talk to me about being a vegetarian, I say that you need to understand your blood type first. Is that true or false?
To some degree, but yeah, that's not true. There's so many. I mean, the only thing you need is B12.
Got it.
Because there's protein everywhere. So, that idea you need protein, that's...
But you can get protein from plants.
Everything. All kind of plant-based protein.
Because I always say, can you get enough protein from plants?
Absolutely. You get too much protein mostly if you eat a lot of meat. And what you do get is a lot of carcinogens. and people are dying. Like it was real funny. Recently, I went to AJ when he was laid up in the casket. I'm looking at AJ, and it was cool. Curtis Blow, DJ Hollywood, Eddie Chiba, Lovebug Starsky, Busy Bee Star, all the old school rappers, the pre-rap record dudes.
If you don't know who AJ is a famous DJ who DJ'd for Curtis Blow.
Right. So all these pre-hip hop DJs and rappers was there, and AJ was up in the casket, and I was there, and it was a sad day. We were all reminiscing and being happy, whatever. But the same week he died of ass cancer was the same week that
Did you just say ass cancer?
Colon cancer. I'm sorry. Is that a curse?
No, that's fine. It's just the term felt a little crass.
Of course. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But that's what he died of. And so did Joey Robinson the same week.
Oh, really?
Joey Robinson the same week. Two hip-hop icons died the same week of animal product. And it's constant, and it's more and more. And the heart disease, the rate of diabetes 3 times more than the rest of the world, the rate of heart disease, the rate of cancer, all that is the animal product that we're feeding ourselves. And there are companies everywhere, Beyond Meat, for instance, or Hampton Creek. Beyond Meat is studying the 40,000 plants to create new products. Like once you had a car, you need a horse to pull a carriage. That's the kind of thing that we're working on, but in the short term, there's still many, many products you can eat that are not animal-based that will allow you freedom, to move around, and not die of ass cancer. I'm saying, I don't know what to say about it. But anyway,
Russell, can I just...
the book's lighthearted.
Like
it sounds heavy right now.
No, I know. Happy Vegan is available now, and I will challenge everyone listening right now, because mostly what I run into, the people on this program will tell you I'm pretty hardcore. Not as hardcore as you are, but about what I eat. I haven't eaten beef since the 90s. I wasn't raised on pork, but I do eat chicken, a lot of it, and I still eat fish.
There's a lot of
probiotics or antibiotics.
But more than the antibiotics, the Prozac is crazy. They gave it Prozac because they put him in such tight quarters that they gave him Prozac so they wouldn't kill each other and so they wouldn't be depressed and die anyway. And then they found out, oh man, the Prozac makes them fat, so you stuff them with more Prozac. Like you can't get Prozac. You can't get antibiotics if you think you might have something. They got to triple check. But they stuffing you with antibiotics in your chicken.
From the chicken.
85% of America's antibiotics go into the meat.
That sounds insane.
Now and the reason I bring this up is because you have people listening who find their joy through food, through junk food specifically, whether it's fast food, whether it's soda, whether it's ice cream, whether it's brownies, whether it's having a big steak, whether there's people who literally their happiness in the day is the meal
taste palate changes though. I learned that I stopped, I like morning meditation more than I do late night drinking or drugs or coke or dust or whatever it was. Whatever late night used to be.
And you did it all.
Of them.
You did it all.
Every drug. They didn't make a drug. Only thing I ain't tried is crystal meth because
wasn't around yet.
I missed it.
Yeah,
right?
too bad.
But so I'm saying, but my real joy and happiness, my biggest high comes in morning meditation. So I'd rather have that because all you want is to quiet the mind. We know that. We go to work every day to do things so that we can be at ease. So if we can promote, ideas, working out, meditating, all these things promote a quiet mind. And a quiet mind is always seeking, period. A comfortable seat and a quiet mind, that's life. So you get high, so it's cloudiness or clarity. So you do things to promote clarity, and that's the other route to happiness. And the drugs and the alcohol is a temporary fix on all that noise in your mind that causes sickness and sadness.
Russel Simmons, Happy Vegan is the book. He comes up here with books very frequently, and he's trying. Well, and the reason I say that, that's not a shade. That's just to say that you're trying to contribute to people having a better life because you've made mistakes in your life and you've learned, and now you're sharing.
Exactly. I'm old. I realize this as an activist.
How old are you now?
I'm 58. Right, so as an activist, I'm lucky to still be able to talk to you, right? Because, I notice when I have a march, and I'm locked arm in arm with Nas, he's still relevant. And then I'm locked arm in arm with Eric B. or Salt and Pepper or, great artists whose voices are not as big as they were. And when they were young and really big and successful, it was not on their agenda, just as it was not on my agenda. I used to say all I wanted was cocaine and
cocaine and vagine. You're right. So you're a fiend for the vagine.
Right. That's all I said before. And I never really wanted or realized my opportunity, what celebrity gave me in terms of a voice. So now I'm still breathing and I can still talk to you guys. So I say things that I know that that our people need to hear, as much as I can, So that's
in your family. I think from what I know, your niece Angela Simmons is vegan.
Yeah, that's right.
Who else?
Rev is he's not vegan, but he's changing. Even though he got a cooking show, he called me talking about the green juice he drinks. He used to say, "It's like you fell in the grass, my nigga, and then you just scraped your mouth against the grass."
That's what he was saying about green juice?
It's so bad.
But he said, what, a little apple is kind of good. This was the other day he called me and told me that. I was real happy to hear him say that. I
Now,
guess
Run's put on some weight. He's put on some weight.
Yes, and he's lost a little bit, but it's a new thing to him, a new diet. He read my book. His wife read the book first and made him read it.
And did she have a health scare?
Is she vegan too?
No, but it's a shift that's going on in that family, and I'm very proud to say that, because most of your family don't listen. They're the last ones to listen.
Of course.
Right? You can tell your brother or your close friend something, they just look at you.
Now, what about your daughters?
My daughters are in boarding school in a place where the animal product is not produced the way it is, and they're not vegan yet. But, the difference between the American factory farming industry's poison and animal product that's grazed, or made a different way is so dramatic. It's not even the same food. It's not the same food. And so it's not as unhealthy. Some people say, but yet in instances where you don't have animal product as a main part of your diet, there's less cancer, less heart disease, not even factory farmed, just regular animal product. It causes all of these complications, but a lot less than they do here, obviously, in America.
Do you, one last question. Happy Vegan, Russel Simmons, the book is out. We got to talk about de Blasio and your relationship in your letter before we get you out of here.
And I want to talk about Rush Card, too, because, something that I want to just say
there was a little screw up there in the business, right?
Yeah, I want to talk
before the
about
holidays.
it.
So we'll talk about that. But on that, have you, and do you support local farming? Because I know that's very big. Local farms, organic farms is becoming a very big thing. Are you investing in that? Are you studying that?
No. I'm aware that that non-GMO product and organic product and even animal product that's made on farms that are local and are raised a certain way are more healthy. But you would need enough grass to circle this earth 4 or 5 times, and nothing else, and no people, just to serve the cows that we have. So 99.5% of what we eat that's animal product comes from factory farms. Even our fish is full of antibiotics if it's not full of mercury. If it's factory farm fish, it's got a lot of growth hormones and a lot of antibiotics, a lot of stuff in it. So there's a whole set of problems, and we talk about it in the book. It's a very simple book. My daughter told me when she was 11 that success through stillness was remedial at best.
Yeah, I remember you told us
right, and she said that, so I write a simple book. So this book, The Happy Vegan, is very simple. It's a real guide. And also, this idea that you think that it's expensive when you can save $4,000 a year by going vegan and eating, we show you lots of easy ways to move around and not, this idea that you can only go to the store. If you're stuck in the hood, you can get tofu. You can get the Chinese restaurant can give you curry eggplant with broccoli and all that. There's lots of ways around.
Russ, I'm telling you the level of discipline that many people are not prepared to have yet, where they won't find joy in food for several weeks.
Weeks. That's all it is, because it's happening.
Because that transition,
your taste palette changes. Even if I want to eat something that's not really good for me, for instance, I could be in one of these high-end restaurants like Craig's in LA, for instance. But they got a vegan chicken parmesan. They got vegan this, vegan that, right? They also got a chocolate cheese cake, chocolate peanut butter cheesecake, and chocolate peanut butter ice cream with chocolate syrup, and it's vegan. So you eat that, and if your man's got the real chocolate cheese, let me you try it. You can't even eat it. It's so thick and heavy. So it changes. Your taste palates change.
But it will take you a month, at least.
Yeah, but
But that's what you're telling people.
20 years early, I think it's a good move. Because or worse than dying 20 years early, moping around for 20 years before you check out. Being sick and the doctors and the constant, because people are really getting sick early. Black women are getting diabetes at an alarming rate and heart disease at an alarming rate. And, if you're stuck in the hood, you got to go to Taco Bell. Go to Taco Bell. Get beans and put guacamole instead of cheese. and make a burrito, whatever. You know what I mean? There's ways around this that you, like you said, it'll take a minute to get there, but it's only a minute. My book's a guide to make it a couple days, you know what I mean? To slow it down and also to give you the benefits and choices that are healthier. It's not just going vegan, you know, being healthier. Sugar's like cocaine, it's addictive. You know, be careful.
Yes.
It's like, ooh. Right, it's like the most addictive thing on the
You didn't see
planet.
State of the Union last night.
I'm so sorry.
I'm gonna tell you this.
Peace Week is this week.
What is
I'm
that?
sorry, Erica Ford just did Peace Week.
Hey, Erica Ford, Queens, what up?
Peace Week this week.
Which is a very big, important, because there's definitely gun violence in New York City. Is
Absolutely.
crazy.
I'm sorry I cut you off. Yeah.
No. I think that's very important. I'd love to.
Yeah,
in
Peace
any
Week.
way
Rush
bring
Card
more-
supports it every year. We're going to do it again this year. Write him a check. And this year now, because of our mishap, I've really been able to convince the board to invest a lot of money around the country in peace programs. We always did, you know, but we're
you
going
gotta
to
step your game up.
Yeah, it's going to go in the millions.
Now,
of
what
dollars,
happened with the
so.
Rush Card?
Well,
People
we
had money they couldn't get
I'm
to.
saying we had partners, and I don't want to. I took all the bricks myself. They have $100 billion partners. I don't want to fire them. I want to sue them. They actually been good in their intention, but you know we didn't do it alone. In fact, we don't even do that part of it. But so we think that that's good in a way. We're going to first of all overpay. Not only whatever we have to settle all the lawsuits. I'm happy to go through all the process of studying what happened, because the more investigations, the more we can release that to the public and see what happened. And they also will blame other people. But I'm not blaming nobody. But the people who are partly, I think that we can get big companies to force us to do some of the innovation that I've been trying to do. Like we do card-to-card transfer when people used to do Western Union. 90 cents, you send your mother money. She wakes up with the money on her card in Jamaica. You know what I mean? That was a big deal. Giving people their money 2 days early was a big deal. I have a lot of other innovation, giving people $5, you know, just for leaving a couple of dollars in the bank. It's a big deal. It's bigger than the bank. So we did all those things, but I want people to swipe their card and be able to buy a house. If you've been swiping your card paying rent, you should get a mortgage. And the credit unions have been resistant to this because they're bank inspired, and the banks don't really like the way we built virtual banks. So I want to make them accept our credit information. And if they don't, I'm going to build a Rush credit agency, or maybe I'll name it with my partner. But I'm going to get big partners. I mean, I say big. Our company is a multi-$100 million company. I need $100 billion company to get behind me and make them do it. So that if you have a Rush card or any of the cards that would be competitors that followed us into this business, and they don't have the credit history we have, because we have people for 10 years. Those people who've been productive and have paid their bills on time should be able to buy a house, buy a car. They should have a different credit score.
To be able to get a loan.
Of course.
Now, what
And
happened
they've been
with-
trying to
now
shut
what-
us down on that for 8 years. I've been fighting.
Yeah, they don't want to let you do that.
But
They don't
we're
want,
gonna
they
do
don't
that.
want you to own a house. They don't want you to own a house, and they don't want you, Russell Simmons, hip hop mogul, to be the first guy to transition from making
Well, I
rap
built
music
this industry.
to
I
having.
invented this industry. There's competitors, but I built it.
But they don't want
And-
you. They
don't-
theys don't want you to have that.
Well, they can't always stop me. And I think they are going to be on my side in doing this, those who are moving into this industry, because a lot of people, they didn't like it, and then they said, well, we better figure it out, because a lot of Americans, middle class and others, are using this form of banking. Like my daughters are in another country, but they got Rush cards, and I can watch them very closely on what they're spending.
Now, the screw up was what? People had their card, they had
There was
money on
a-
their card, and they couldn't use the
That's
card.
correct, because there was a transition of data, and that transition of data got screwed up. And when that happened, everything shut down. And when one thing shut down, it created a tsunami effect, so that other parts of the business shut down. Usually when you transfer data, something goes wrong, something else goes wrong. You see it because of call center. But when a call center that gets 3,000 calls a day gets 600,000 calls because 100,000 people didn't get their money. In a few days, it was only down to 10,000. Then a few more days, it was down to 2,000.
So you
But
fixed the
2,000
problem.
2,000 people not getting their money out of a million, no matter how many. On Instagram, it's like, and never mind on Instagram, it's just 2,000 people that you should care about. I call a lot of these people personally, sent them money personally, you know, and some of them might not even been telling the truth. They had me on the phone because I was so twisted.
I should have called. I needed a couple of dollars.
I wouldn't have believed you. But I mean, it really was a moment. You know, probably the most devastating moment in my life. But of course, we're up and running perfectly and all that. That's good. But
they're going to
be
they
better.
are going to drag you through the mud because they don't want you to win.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, they dragged me through the mud already. But you know what? I don't want to put nobody under the bus because everybody else has the power to make me better and make me a better servant of the community. So what I want to do is get them. Not only do I want to pay off whatever the bills are, and in terms of to give everybody money, but then I want to give extra money. I want to be the gold standard of restoring the people because somebody didn't get their medicine on time, and that person had to pay more money, or somebody lost their apartment. Even if they was only locked out of their car for 3 days, they couldn't pay, and it was last minute for them. And so so those people, I want to restore them too. Not the way Ma Bell says, oh yeah, electricity went out and your fridge went cold and you lost your food. They just like, oh, it's electricity's working, shut up. I don't want to do that. I want to put food in your fridge. I'm going to Flint, Michigan, and every Rush Card person is going to get water. Everybody. I don't know how many, 2,700, 3,600, whatever the number of people in Flint, Michigan who have a Rush Card, they'll get fresh water.
Well,
that's
Flint,
a small
Michigan
thing,
needs fresh water anyway because I hear the government over there was poisoning their water.
That's right. So I'm going to give them fresh water until that crisis is over. So that's a small
the governor or the mayor of Flint did something with the water. So
he wasn't able to fix it quick enough.
He wasn't able to fix it, and the water got poisoned, and kids started getting sick out there because they switched the water supply for some.
Most important,
I want to challenge everybody else too, who is a service provider in that community, to add. I can't give everybody in Flint, Michigan, bottled water for 3 months, but I can give my customers that. I would like for other people to join me. I don't want to call them out, but everybody got cable, everybody got something. To give them some water. Make that part of your agenda to give relief to that part of that state.
So Russ is going, Mr. Russel Simmons is going to fix the Rush Card, and anybody else
affected. Already. It's
already fixed, but you're going to fix it.
But I'm going to make good on everything I promise.
You and Mayor de Blasio, you wrote him an open letter.
Yeah, I feel this way about. You mean Trump? I wrote a letter.
Or excuse me, Trump. You wrote a letter to, yes.
Yeah, I feel that it'd be great if he won the Republican nomination, but it's funny because he can twist his words. A lot of unsophisticated Republicans. A lot of Republicans are like, yo, if I have to vote Democrat because they're afraid of what might happen, right? But a lot of unsophisticated Democrats could start hearing his Democrat rap. He said one really good thing from the podium. He said money, and he looked around, he said, makes a lot of good people corrupt. He's talking about everybody on the podium. You heard Mr. Farrakhan say he looked like a little girl that did dress with short dresses, because that's what they are. They're all auditioning for more money from the funders of our government and the rulers of our society, which are the people with money and power. And they're all auditioning so they can get more money and maybe get in office. And they say it's for a good agenda, but then those people don't give them money for nothing. So Trump is one, just like Bernie Sanders, Bernie's living off little investments, right? And he's not accepting or getting any corporate support. So he is another person against Citizens United, which is where you give, and against this structure where money rules our government. So the two candidates have a lot in common, but he says a lot of rhetoric, and not only his homophobic and Islamophobic and sexist and hateful racial stuff. Not only that, he says other stuff that's just scary, like pushing buttons on.
Did he reply to you when you wrote that letter?
He didn't. I haven't spoken to him since. We were cool.
And you guys have
very cool.
You guys have done business together.
No, we just traveled a lot and partied a lot. I went to his wedding, and
you say very cool, and then
you say very party. Cool. Like we would speak all the time.
Yeah, but Russ, you said very cool.
Very cool.
Which means you guys have definitely
Rev was even cooler with him. Rev would travel every weekend with him to Mar-a-Lago. Him and his family would go to Mar-a-Lago.
It's a place.
He had a house in Mar-a-Lago.
I figured it out based on the way the sentence was structured.
Mar-a-Lago. Trump had a house at Mar-a-Lago.
Someplace where rich people go?
Very rich people go to this country club in Mar-a-Lago. And
where is Mar-a-Lago?
It's in Florida.
Oh, it's in Florida.
They get on that big 727, and they would go. I would go sometimes. I went a couple times, but Rev would go all the time. And it was like I get along with everybody. Roger Ailes from Fox News. The reason we got the Rockefeller drug law done is because I was cool with the Republican governor at the time. I get along with people. And sometimes they say stuff, and I be looking at them like, really? And they believe it. So the way to change people is if you want to change them, or the way to just get along with them and understand that they believe in their views and you believe in yours, and be tolerant. You know, I'm not an angry vegan. You can eat steak, but I'm not. Even if I was trying to fight slavery, I'd probably be the person who'd be like, "Could you understand?" Well, other guys like John Brown be chopping their head off. I'd be like, "Don't you understand?" But I would always like to see somebody chopping their head off because I know that's important. You know, I like Peter throwing stuff on people, and then I call him and try to explain to them what a karmic disaster it is for 100 billion animals to be birthed by factory practices and raped and made into like just not even, they're not lives, they're just things you need to make bigger and faster, and you have to just suck their boob until you just get all the milk, and if the milk ain't right, just electrocute them until they stand up and give more milk. I mean, that's the lives of these factory farms, and you never can't even see that. You know, you go to jail filming that.
Yeah, they won't let you in.
I give Mercy for Animals money every year. They go undercover and they risk their lives just to take pictures of what's going on. You take a picture in here, you can't go to jail for taking a picture of us doing our work, but you can go to jail for taking pictures of the way our food is served and made.
Think about that. That's crazy.
Right, they call them terrorists. How about that? Just for taking pictures of it.
So, so you and Trump have not talked.
Not at all.
Did you think that his campaign would last as long? Because I definitely
Nobody
didn't.
thought that.
I
Get
thought
out
he
of
would
here.
be done
Stop
by the
playing.
holidays.
Of course. Everybody thought it. But you know, we're finding, I think that people kicking and screaming who feel that they feel strongly that the world is changing towards so much tolerance for people, a black president, so much gay rights discussion and changes and marriage and gays and all kinds of health care, moving towards a real health care system like everybody else in the world has, where everybody can be taken care of. All of these things that are progressive, that are ideas that they don't like, are happening so quickly. And Obama ushered in a lot of that work, along with, you know, a mindset of the public that these people feel locked out and they don't have a voice. So they're really kicking and screaming on their way to the grave, and he's their voice. Like the Tea Party, he's the Tea Party's voice. So it's not a small part of America. It's bigger than we thought, and that's sad. But it's not 50% of the Republican Party, but it's enough to beat 8 people to death. And if he were to win the Republican nomination, then even Bernie Sanders could beat him. That would be good for all of us.
Are you going to vote?
Absolutely.
And who are you going to vote for?
Well,
today, if you were to vote today.
If I were to vote today, I would think I need to vote for Hillary to win. And I have a letter written that I haven't given out yet. It's like a letter. It's to Hillary, who's my dear friend. I gave her first fundraiser in New York State. And the family, the Clinton family, I've been very close to them and appreciative of a lot of the work they've done. And but like I have supported Dennis Kucinich in the beginning because he was such a progressive. Like I took John Edwards to yoga every day, and we talked a lot about, he said poor people. Obama said, when are you going to say poor people? It doesn't poll right, you know what I mean? And why don't you go to Mississippi to announce where they're suffering? Maybe they're white people suffering, the way he went to New Orleans to announce. John Edwards eventually got caught up and twisted out in a lot of stuff that Obama was going to do. But the point was, I did endorse the guy who's going to win and do a good job for America. And I would do the same for Hillary. But she is also entangled in so much money and hadn't said a word. Some people got to play by the rules, but then want to change them. Like they said, you can't occupy your rich. The rich can help the poor. The rich can change the rules to make it a more even. And, you know, to talk about the 0.1% making all the money, that's a discussion. Hillary, bring that up. Borrow from Bernie. And then you'll be the complete candidate. You know, borrow ideas that Bernie has.
We fantasized yesterday about her bringing Bernie on as her vice president. Never would happen, but it would be fun.
It would never happen because she's a centrist when it finally comes in the middle. When she gets to run.
That's what we were saying yesterday.
Yeah,
she's truly
a
Republican than we would like to.
Yeah, and a lot of her belief system and a lot of her politics, because I don't even know her belief system. I don't like the brick.
But that's dangerous that people feel that way, and that somebody like you on the inside feels that way, that you don't really know what Hillary believes. That's dangerous for her.
I believe that she knows her agenda is to work for the people who elect her, and a lot of that is progressive. But I also believe that she wants to get along, and I don't believe she wants to shake things up. And she's not talking about the fact that money is putting her. She's got all this money. She raises more money than everybody, and you know that money comes from people who want favors.
That's right.
Right? So the favors that destroy, you know, whether it's the prison industrial complex, that's destroyed the fabric of the black community by locking up innocent, diseased people. You know, Jinx got hit with 25 years. He had 80 grams of coke that he talked about. He didn't have. He had a conspiracy theory.
And this Jinx the Juvie, it was an artist that you saw.
He was 15. He got shot. I raised him. I put him in college. I did everything I could. He got shot 4 more times. He was just in the hood. It was a struggle, right? But he didn't change too much. But he became a much better person. And he had a record on the radio a little bit. Y'all spun the record enough time to make him go out there. And he was in a conspiracy charge to sell 80 grams of coke. 80 grams of coke. Like my rich friends in St. Bart's, they'll bring 80 grams of coke on the island, right? And then they'll hoard it because it's not enough. Like them and them friends is like, yo, you know, nobody can handle this coke because it's not enough. It's only 80 grams of coke. Yeah. So he's selling 80, and they get caught with 80 with heroin under their nuts. And another friend who owns a bunch of hotels, a good guy, he had a problem. Yeah. But he had a whole lot of heroin on his nuts.
It's worse when good people go down because they have heroin on their nuts.
Everything. He got on a plane traveling. They sent him to a rehab. They give my man 25 years.
He's not rich, man.
No, he public defender had him sign something, and now I got to figure out how to get the 25 years down to 10 years. I can't leave him there for 25 years. He's 30 now. I raised him since he was 14, 15.
But your point is Hillary's involved in a lot of
money,
taking money from corporations and things like that. We love Bernie, but you don't think that Bernie will move things forward? What's the problem with Bernie Sanders?
Bernie Sanders don't look like the president.
You think it's his look?
I think his look, and I think that a lot of powers that be can't control him, so he's going to have a money issue when it comes down to fighting these Republicans. He might gain support, you know, not from big corporations, but a lot of people, donors, because he's raised a lot of money on people writing $10 checks, and Americans could give him, a lot of young people love him. I'm surprised Black America doesn't realize that he has their agenda at heart more than anyone, by far.
Well, he did a bad job communicating that at first, you know, and he didn't put across. He came across as very.
He ain't do the nay though.
No nay.
And that irritates me too, because you have these black blogs that too many of our young people, and even upwards of 40 and 45-year-olds are running these black entertainment blogs every day to get their information, and they're getting pushed information that's just, you get Trump on those blogs because they know that it gets clicks. Right. But you're not getting the information that you really need, which is the people like Bernie Sanders who don't have the money, because a lot of these media outlets are really just funneled by ratings and money. So they're not going to talk about the Bernie Sanders stuff.
I'm going to end up working for Hillary, traveling around the country. I feel that. I feel like she's going to win the nomination.
But what are we going to do to keep Bernie in the conversation?
Bernie is keeping himself in the conversation and not endorsing her, for one, and getting friends to be careful and hold off until such time that she adopts. Because the president had to say, for me, I told Valerie Jarrett, he got to say that he understands the prison industrial complex is destroying us and we need to do something about it right away.
And then he went and did that Vice thing and did those interviews and went inside and had those conversations.
He did all that stuff, but he waited until last year
to
change first-time offenders. He had to wait till a second term because first-time offenders were being charged instead of educated, and that was a horrible thing. And he waited until recently. He waited until Justin Bieber tweeted it. Honestly, I wrote a letter. It was signed by everybody. All these celebrities, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt type people, but also NAACP and Urban League and Reverend Jackson and Sharpton and the Drug Policy Alliance. We all signed this letter, hundreds of people. Sent the letter. The letter got in the news. 2 days later, nothing happened. It was in the news. We called the Attorney General, no response. Justin Bieber tweeted, and we got a call right away, within an hour and a half of his tweet, because it's like, it's going pop. Once it's going pop, everybody's going to discuss it. The Jim Crow, a white boy's talking about Jim Crow and about the prison industrial complex. We didn't want that to be a discussion amongst people who are not politicized, because that means everybody will focus on Obama not having delivered on a promise. And he really needs push. Everybody needs push. I think Teddy Roosevelt told a bunch of black leaders, make me do it. Man, get out in the street. Don't be asking me. Go out there and do the work. Governor Cuomo needed us to make him do it. What he did for us regarding Black Lives Matters by putting a separate prosecutor in came because we marched. We had 100,000 people in the street. And that's why he did it. He wanted to do it, but he needed to push because he had a lot of opposition. said, look, people are beating me up. I got to do this. And everybody had to accept that he did it. He put an executive order in place.
Are you happy with Cuomo?
I'm happy that he did that. I'm very happy with that.
Are you happy with de Blasio?
I feel like de Blasio's heart, in the most part, is in a good place, but he's not an executor. I'd rather have a good heart in office than some of the other people who would absolutely be able to execute things that would be hurtful to the poor. What he said about the poor and how they didn't vote, I thought that was a great comment. About the poor who are suffering in the street, and they saying get rid of them. Like, get rid of them where? And then to say that because they don't vote, they're not treated as citizens, and I'm not going to do that. So you can't really sweep them all off the streets. You don't really know what to do with them. We know there's gentrification going on, but there are people who are homeless, and he's sensitive to that. And for that, they write horrible things about him for not cleaning up the homeless. Well, how you clean them up? Put them in gas chamber? What do you do with them? So he's trying to figure that out, and he has a heart. He hasn't been able to execute on a lot of promises. He still has not stood up to the police department. He did not support vocally the change that Governor Cuomo made. He knows that a separate prosecutor should look at cases where police shoot unarmed citizens. That's obvious.
He came on our program and talked about that. He was open about that. And
did he say it was good?
Yeah, no, he was with it. He was 100% with it on our program. We asked him specifically about special prosecutor, and he said it was the right thing to do.
Also have to, good. You know what? He said it to you.
Yeah.
But, you didn't read about it because he didn't really have a press. He didn't say it. He was never vocal about police brutality in a way that I would hope a mayor would be.
Well, but you have to understand.
A supporter of a progressive agenda, a mayor that we put in office. He never did what he promised the animal rights activists because they put him in office. They came to my house and they brought the gay rights activists, the top ones in this city, and they got together and they said anybody but Quinn. I saw it. So you should at least, nothing, 200 horses. I got in trouble. They said it was a Holocaust. I didn't say it was the Holocaust. And I said to the congressman, the Jewish congressman, I said, if you want to own the word, you can have it. I don't care. We own the word, the N-word is ours. I say it all day. You want to say Holocaust like it's only your suffering? You can have it.
They got mad at you for saying a horse Holocaust?
Holocaust. I didn't say 200 horses was a Holocaust. I said 100 billion animals birthed into suffering every single year. And the lack of consciousness on the part of humankind to protect them or dominion over the animals, to respect that scripture, that was a Holocaust. So now I don't use the word Holocaust when it refers to animals.
If you ever got that problem, just talk to me. But hold on, but real quick.
What you gonna do? You gonna tell?
I got no
Hey,
problem.
Foxman was all over me. I don't care about it.
No, in fact, Russell's way more Jewish than I am. He could do
way
more.
more Jewish.
Go ahead, Rosenberg.
Well, just say de Blasio, you have to remember, for everything we get disappointed in de Blasio, he gets hated by police supporters like he's the devil. They think he's the most anti-police mayor of all time.
That's true.
So it's a complicated situation to please the people on our side.
If he had to run the day against probably anybody, I'd vote for him. I'd vote for his heart, and and the president just got used to being a leader. Not only because it was his second term, he was free to do certain work. He hadn't had the experience.
Well, yeah, there's
so
that.
now
But
that
see,
experience that de Blasio is gaining, he could be a better second term. Plus, when he stopped becoming beholden to money, because he ain't got no money. So once his second time in office, he might get loose, and do some of the things that I know he has in his heart. Because he got a good heart.
I'm going to tell you this. That State of the Union last night that you have not seen.
I got to see it.
Was, for me, and I've seen a lot at this point, at least 4, was the strongest State of the Union.
Great.
Most direct, most in your face I think we've seen a president be with regard to not only his naysayers, international politics, issues of, underclass, issues of minimum wage, guns. I mean, he didn't really go heavy on the guns because just a few weeks ago he had his.
Yeah, he just
kind of did that. He just mentioned
campaign
it,
finance.
Did he say anything about assault weapons?
He touched
it doesn't
on
make
guns,
sense
but
because no one will do anything about it. Like, he's so far away from getting assault weapons off the street. So he came in.
His gun policy is light. Let's be honest. I mean,
Very
people
light.
were up in arms about him having one.
It's so light.
It was
he just
super
said
light.
enforce the law.
But
That's all he's saying.
Yeah,
he didn't say nothing.
Nah, it's gonna have, for those things to change. It's gonna have to go a whole nother way, and they're gonna have to get. I think moves are being made right now to see that we continue to have more liberal minds on the Supreme Court moving forward, and that you potentially see the amendment change over time. That's the biggest hope.
I don't know, man. It's like they said the same thing about Citizens United, but then they just reaffirmed it and made it even stronger. So corporations now have more power to pay politicians to do their bidding.
Well, look, Russell, it's always good to have you up here. Before we let you get out of here, you guys want anything else we got for Russell before we go?
No, I just want to talk politics. We covered it.
We covered it. Listen,
you got to see the State of the Union, bro.
I'm gonna see it today.
You have to have an
Absolutely.
opinion, a vocal opinion on it, because he was very direct. He was up there doing. He was
very proud.
He made us.
His agenda and his work match up. And what's going to happen is that we're going to have a legacy. They're going to say, look what he did for gays. And then 20 years from now, they say he did the right thing for gays.
Yep.
And they're going to say, look what he did for, health care. And they're going to say he did the right thing for health care. They're going to say all that complaining and all the progressive agendas that we've had throughout this country have been looked on by the conservatives as holding us down or hurting this country or making it weak. But then we always look back and say that's what makes America great.
Well,
He's
and
gonna
it's
have
like becoming a
legacy.
vegan. It's like becoming a vegan. It takes work.
That's right.
And sometimes people don't want to do that early work that it takes.
All you
and
got
that
to do is see
suffering
that
it
all
takes.
your family members with cancer, the family members with diabetes, the family members with heart disease, the family members, it goes on and on. And the most obvious choice is a plant-based diet. And this book is an easy route. So that's why I'm just saying, again, I'm not making any money. I really believe that if there's a way I can frame it, the discussion, I don't think the animal industry likes me. Because they get $30 billion a year from the U.S. government to subsidize the poisoning of the people and the planet. And that's what to do with money. And they give nothing to vegetables. And that's horrible. And that's our government, being manipulated by money again. So anyway, that's my last statement.
Russel
about
Simmons, Happy Vegan. Get the book. We're gonna want to hear from you again, maybe after you watch the State of the Union. So I
will.
reaching out.
I'm happy to talk about it.
Good
Thank
to see
you,
you, bro.
Russell.
Thank you.
You eat growth hormones. You eat so many carcinogens in your chicken. In your beef, if you barbecue it, it could be like a third of, if it's 30 of protein, it's like 20 cigarettes a day. No one gives their child 20 cigarettes a day. And this kind of food product is only manufactured. These lives are only built and based on this much chemical and these many additives in America because it's illegal to do that anywhere in the world. 20% of American women, black women, have some kind of heart disease. If you're over 20 years old and you're black, you're 50% likely to have some kind of heart disease. And the animal product that they serve you is only the way it is because of lobby. They allow corporations to feed us this. And then the American government gives them $30 billion while giving the vegetable industry only $17 million. So they give $30 billion to the factory farming industry, which is destroying the planet for sure.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of the livestock also they say is destroying the planet as well because
the cows farting is like more than all the trains, planes, and automobiles put
that's
together.
like a real thing.
The ozone layer is being destroyed by the gas of cows. Yes.
That's right.
Plus, they're cutting down the rainforest and all these places to find places to put the cow.
Everything, kid. A hamburger. If you don't eat a pound of beef, you can shower for a year. Right, a year you can shower. So whenever they say, it pissed me off.
Wait, what do you mean? If you don't say
the amount of water to feed a cow and to wash a cow and to build a grain and all the stuff it eats is enough to float a battleship. One cow, one hamburger, you can shower for 6 months.
Does that make sense?
So like the process.
Yeah, so
everything
the
involved
water
in
required for it.
Got it.
So it's about
Right.
how much water it takes just for you to
You
eat
can
1
feed
pound of beef.
so many people.
Now, Russell.
That's what the book's a little bit about that.
Your book, Happy Vegan, I always tell people when they talk to me about being a vegetarian, I say that you need to understand your blood type first. Is that true or false?
To some degree, but yeah, that's not true. There's so many. The only thing you need is B12.
Got it.
Because there's protein everywhere. So, that idea you need protein, that's...
But you can get protein from plants.
The United States of America is the most Let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something, see?
The United States of America is the most powerful nation on earth, period. All the talk of America's economic decline is political hot air. Well, so is all the rhetoric you hear about our enemies getting stronger and America getting weaker. If you doubt America's commitment, or mine, to see that justice is done, just ask Osama bin Laden.
Oh,
God! Russell, he went on to say, taking shots at people sitting there, he says, The only people in the country who get to keep their jobs for 30 years are sitting in this room.
Right.
Like, he was going at people.
Well, did he talk about Citizens United? Because the whole country got one major problem. There's no democracy. There's only money.
Yeah, he definitely
everything we
talked about money.
what we getting ready to talk about, and everything. I occupied Wall Street for a reason. Because this country is run by money. And Citizens United allowing corporations to just go crazy, and they even think all kind of plant-based protein.
Because I always say, can you get enough protein from plants?
Absolutely. You get too much protein mostly if you eat a lot of meat. And what you do get is a lot of carcinogens. And people are dying. Like, it was real funny. Recently I went to AJ when he was laid up in the casket. I'm looking at AJ, and it was cool. Curtis Blow, DJ Hollywood, Eddie Chiba, Love Bug Starsky, Busy Bee Star, all the old school rappers, the pre-rap record dudes.
If you don't know who AJ is a famous DJ who DJ'd for Curtis Blow.
Right. So all these pre-hip hop DJs and rappers was there, and AJ was up in the casket, and I was there, and it was a sad day. We were all reminiscing and being happy, whatever. But the same week he died of ass cancer was the same week that
Did you
Joey
just say ass cancer?
Colon cancer. I'm sorry. Is that a curse?
No, that's fine.
It's
It's
just a little.
the term felt a little crass.
Of course. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But that's what he died of. And so did Joey Robinson the same week.
Oh, really?
Joey Robinson the same week. Two hip-hop icons died the same week of animal product. And it's constant, and it's more and more. And further extended that law to give them even more power is the reason that the prison industrial complex exists in the way that it does. It locks us up and changed our culture from
Now,
prison,
for people listening right now, Russell, Citizens United is a collective of individuals, corporations, who can fund their own political agenda.
Exactly, and that agenda,
and that's like the Koch brothers, and
exactly, it's where the politicians depend more on money than people, and it allows them further power to give even more money, so that politicians are beholden to money. And so every single thing that ill affects the American people is some corporation figured out new ways to exploit the people. Today I'm talking about my book.
That's right. And what's the title? Really
the book
quick?
is called A Happy Vegan.
That's right.
It just came out, and it's like, of all my books, I can't say it's unhappy because it's written in a light spirit, but there's a lot of information in there. And it's like, when you eat chicken, you eat Prozac, you eat antibiotics, the kind you need that may protect you against some bug one day that could kill you.